Your long-term coaching success of the people you coach or the teams you coach really depend on 3 ingredients. So the first ingredient is that you are and keep very present to the vision of what you're coaching. Another way to say that is, what is the game? We've said over and over that your job as a coach is to have your players win. We want to win that championship, of course. So your success is, you better know and remember what matters to people, what they're out to accomplish, and what ultimately they're holding you accountable for, which is being their coach to help them get there. Whatever you designed as the goal for the people you're coaching, the individual you're coaching, the team you're coaching, it is your responsibility as the coach to make sure that you absolutely stay present in all your coaching conversations, that we are out to win the game and fulfill the vision. If you forget the vision, you're in trouble, okay? I mean, you're in trouble, like you will fail as a coach. You will not be successful as a coach over time. So you want to keep in front of you, very, very clearly defined, whatever it is that people expect that you're participating in and contributing to, helping them achieve. Okay, that's number 1. Don't forget the goal, don't forget the vision, don't forget the championship that you're coaching people to. And you will remember it perhaps for the first month, depending on how long you're coaching, or you may remember it for the first couple months. You got to be the one who remembers it when everyone else forgets. You know, a quarter in, 2 quarters in, 1 year in, perhaps 2 years in, perhaps 3 years in. People will want to go unconscious to the big game, to the big goal. People will want to go to do what they've always done to produce results. You're the coach is going to say, hey, don't forget that we said X, and we are not letting go of X. Great coaches got to keep the vision and the big game in front of people. And to do that, I've got to remember what the big game is. And I've got to stay straight for myself that that's what I'm coaching people to accomplish. So that's number 1. Number 2, to be successful as a coach over time, is you must get good at acknowledging the success and milestones that are met in the accomplishment of the big game. We must take time along the way to really stop and pat each other on the back and call out the success of the small wins, okay? Too often, teams will lose motivation. They'll lose connection. They'll lose emotional, commitment to winning the championship because things get hard. And of course, as a winning team, we want a coach to be able to say, I know we're not at the championship yet, but let's look back. Look at the last 3 months. Look what we accomplished. And our brain is selective. Our brain likes to remember what we haven't done. Or, we look towards what we haven't accomplished. People go on diets and they lose 15 pounds, but they're like, I still got 15 to go. Yeah, but what about the 15 you lost? What about that? What about taking a moment to celebrate that? What are some of those milestones where teams came together and they solved a real issue? You implemented a whole new system. You gained a whole new customer base. You launched a whole new product. You coordinated yourselves in a way for high performance and efficiency that wasn't there before. Where's the scoreboard moving along the way to the championship that you can stop and thumbs up and high five? And most importantly, you as a coach need to be the one who's often championing that conversation. You need to bring it forth because as individuals, we're not always good at saying that. Mostly we're looking at what we haven't accomplished yet versus what we have accomplished along the way. We dismiss significant success because we're too busy thinking about what we haven't accomplished yet. Great coaches have a perfect balance between pointing out to teams, look what we've accomplished. Look how far we've come from where we started, and look how far we've come. Look what's in place that was never in place. Could you imagine that we could accomplish this much in the last 3 months, in the last quarter, in the last 2 quarters, in the last year? Could you imagine when we started this journey that we would end up at this point in time? Now, we haven't got the championship yet, but everyone take a deep breath and appreciate yourself for the hard work, the dedication, the commitment, the smarts, the intelligence, the innovation, the creativity, the risk-taking, the dedication that came from this team and getting here at this point in time. That is tremendous. Whatever we're doing is working like that. Now, is the job done? No. We still have to be here. But let's acknowledge where we're at today. And obviously, you'd have to be authentic about that. If the team has not accomplished anything, then you can't say that. However, even if the team has not accomplished anything on the scoreboard, likely they've accomplished something in discovering what it's going to take to accomplish something. So that can still be acknowledged. All right. And if there's absolutely no results, then you have to actually look at what is the effectiveness of your coaching overall and the team's goals, right? If there's no accomplishment. But likely, in most cases, there is. So the second pillar of being a great coach over time for your people is to acknowledge their success along the way. The third pillar is, as a coach, you want to keep creating the next gap. You want to keep creating an expansion of where your team or the person you're coaching is today, and you want to keep creating this new view of what is possible standing on their success to date. For most teams that you are coaching, they want continual expansion, right? This is not necessarily just be bigger, but strategic growth is important for most organizations. That kind of strategic growth is your job as a coach. It can be at the individual level. Where do the people you're coaching want to be strategically over the next year or 2 years or 3 years? When the current championship is won that you're out to accomplish, what does that then make available as now possible for people to start to organize for? So the third pillar of being an effective coach is that you're pointing towards a new possible future. You're creating the next gap for the team to be empowered by and start to think inside of. You know, a lot of groups and teams and individuals will accomplish big things, and then we kind of ride on the coattails of that momentum for sometimes months, years. Some companies do it for decades, and that leads to stagnation and lack of creativity. They stop working the muscle. They stop going to the gym. They stop doing what was working, right? In that team momentum, in that team cohesion, in that team high performance mode. So my commitment with the teams I coach is always to be able to start to point towards where appropriate, and once we've accomplished significant milestones, and absolutely once we've won the championship, to keep looking what's next, what's important to the team, not just to have more work or to keep busy or go bigger because bigger's better, because that's not the case necessarily. We don't always have to go bigger, but how do we bring more quality to what we're doing? How do we bring more efficiency to what we're doing? How do we bring more innovation to what we're doing? So whatever's important to the group, a great coach helps expand one's thinking and not just see the championship as the end destination, but just the next platform to launch from. Let's recap. The 3 pillars for you to have your attention on as a coach to ensure that your coaching is successful over time is for you to keep very real for yourself the big goal that you are coaching them to accomplish. Over time, it's your job to remind people about that, and it starts with reminding yourself. Number 2, that you acknowledge the success along the way. You acknowledge significant milestones, and you make that public, and you communicate it, and you invite people to really get real for themselves about what an accomplishment it is. Okay, have people enjoy the accomplishment along the way. Enjoy the success, of course, along the way to the destination. And third is that you're looking as a coach about what are new ways for the team to expand. Having accomplished those significant milestones and ultimately winning the championship, winning the goal that they've set out to accomplish, what does that new foundation, right, allow them to launch into next? What's the next expression for the group? What's the next level of creativity or abundance that they can go after? What are they now interested in accomplishing, which then creates the next game for you, creates the next championship to win, and ultimately creates that next gap for you to help them navigate through and be successful with.